Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this, I am going to be starting my Dragonbane adventure using the character I rolled up in one of the previous episodes called Mirth. Now, any of you who've been watching my channel, 900 subscribers, thank you very much. I actually mentioned in there that I wasn't going to actually continue with the role-playing element of my channel. I decided to continue with the role-playing element of my channel. Why? Well, I was going to continue with it off screen anyway, and I thought, well, why not? Let's just do it. I know there's not many of you, or at the time, there's not been many of you actually watching. There's been a fair few views, but not many likes. So I'm not sure if you guys actually like it. But the thing is, I do. I want to do it, and I might as well add it in content because who knows? Maybe in some years' time, a lot of people do start to watch it. You can never tell. So I thought, let's do it. So how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to be using Mythic, the Game Master emulator, as my GM, even though obviously I'm sort of GMing as well because I'm soloing it. Maintain my character, and I'm going to have a player, PC, NPC, whatever you want to call it, one that came out of the box, and her name is, there we are, Christiana the Bold, a halfling, young halfling, procurer of other people's equipment. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. Now, how do I do this? Well, let's say in here, there's an adventure. There are quite a few different adventure sites, but I'm going to be starting with what they call the introduction, the opening scene. There we go, opening scene. I haven't read any of the background of the adventure or what the actual content. I mean, there's a whole table of things that's course of events and such forth, what would happen, and so I'm not reading any of that. I'm going to read that as and when I'm sort of dictated to or need to, as by this. I'll be going through quite a bit initially in the first few episodes how to use Mythic or how I'm using it. And I'll describe it in detail, and then that will sort of wane a bit as I just keep the flow of the narrative as best as possible. I'll just make the roll and say, right, that's what has happened and so on. So there could be quite a few stops, starts, pauses, intercedings and such forth in this episode, because I'm also learning the rules. I've read them twice. Doesn't mean I know them. So I'm going to be playing them. Could be mistakes. And if there's any of you watching who know this game very well, and I do make obviously some amazing faux pas, mention it in the comments. And now we mention comments, did you hit the like and the subscribe for me? That'll do me a big favor. The reason why I decided to come back to this, as I said, because I was going to do it anyway. This is my first real foray into solo role playing. I've GM'd quite a few things over the years. I've even played 2-player using Mythic, but this will be the actual first time I'm sitting down and saying, right, let's do this solo wise. So again, it could be like a few times I'm going. If any of you watched any of my other things, such as Ambush, where I'm playing those war games solo, you might have noticed I have a tendency to yab and rabble on anyway. So I might also use that in this. So let's go to the Roll20 on the screen, and let's get this party going. See you in a moment. Would help if I knew how to actually pause and stop the recording, wouldn't it? And here we are, beginning. Martine and Christiana the Bold. 2 characters. Well, Martine is my main character. Christiana the Bold is a NPC, or whichever way you want to look at it. Now, I created and rolled up Martine, and here's his character sheet. I want some background music, but I don't want it to be too loud. And now where's he disappeared to? There he is. Okay, so he's a fighter. He has a weakness. He's faint-hearted. He doesn't like being the lead, but he's going to have to. He's going to have to overcome that. It's his long scar on the right side of his face. Yeah, that's as shown in his picture, and his various stats. Now, remember, this is a D20, but it's reversed Dungeons and Dragons. In other words, low is good. 1 is the best you can roll. 20 is a fumble or disaster, depending what it's actually required to roll. So when you're required to do something, you need to roll under the stat. So, for example, he's got a weapon skill of 12 with a sword. He would need to roll 12 or lower to actually hit something. With spears, he's got 12. He's not very good with a stave. Crossbow, not too bad. He's a 10. And then they've got his other skills here. He's got some leather armor. He's armed with a short sword, and a light crossbow. You've got willpower points and hit points. We'll go through these as we go. The key thing, he's only got 3 silver. He's pretty skint, and hence why he's coming on this adventure. And then let's bring up Christiana. I'm not going to keep calling her the bold. She's reckless. That's her weakness. She will always bring big risks without the thought of consequences. So I've got to try and remember these and role play them. As it says, she's got an innocent face with shrewd, constantly observing eyes, light and silent on her feet, and she sees opportunity in any situation. She's got some lockpicks, and she's got not so good on the weapons. Don't give her an axe. She's good with knives. Yeah, good with knives. But she has things like acrobatics, awareness, evade, and so on. So, she's got sneak. She's also wearing leather armor. She's armed with a dagger and a knife and another knife. Yeah. Because she's good with knives. And that's about it. There we go. And she's got even less silver, too. Hence why she's also on this adventure. So how do these two meet up? Don't know. Let's say, in the good old tradition, they met up in a tavern, in a village, outside where we actually started the campaign. Both of them were skint. Both of them said, right, let's go. We've heard of this Mystic Veil. Because if I actually bring up her foreground, so let's bring that back up here. Let's go through her bio and info. Okay, so growing up in a city in the west of what? Don't know. Okay, you were always coming up with wild ideas and daring your friends to take ever greater risks in the alley. You became an adept pickpocket and later started burglarizing luxurious mansions, acquiring their items. You were caught and thrown in prison, but escaped shortly thereafter. Now you keep clear of the city, always looking for new challenges and experiences together with a party of adventurers. Well, the party is Martain. You are currently on the way to the Mystic Vale, which is said to offer plenty of both. So they met up in a tavern, and that's where they actually are continuing from and to. Has he got a background? I haven't really developed one for him as yet. Bio and info. Yeah, got a picture. There you go. That's him. I don't know his background as yet. We will determine that as we go along in the game. And obviously we'll expand on the Christiana as we play. So that will be revealed via that mythic. So that's where we're at. 2 character sheets. And we are about to begin the adventure. So, how am I going to begin? Well, I'm going to set the scene. Okay. They've given me what's called the opening scene. Now, let me show you how the system does it on using Mythic. So if we go to the journal, I actually have a scene sheet. So I'll bring up here. Okay, takes its time, and that's what it looks like, the scene sheet. Yeah, as I say, there's going to be a little bit of jumps and starts and such forth. The I'm using Zoom to do the recording, and it's a little bit clunky, to be fair. I've got to press this button, press that button, and such forth. But yeah, but let's see. It says I can use Alt P. Let's try Alt P. Okay, so I don't have to use the mouse. I can just Alt P. But remember that. Okay. Anyway, so this is what the scene sheet looks like. So as you can see, it's blank, and I'm not going to be filling up on the screen because I don't want to type on the screen. But it says, "Come up with a scene setup." Well, the scene setup is as described in this book, which we'll go through in a moment. Okay. Now it then says in Mythic you're meant to roll a d10 against the chaos to see if the scene setup is modified. I'm not going to modify the scene setup for this introductory scene because this is the introductory scene for the adventure, and I'd like to keep it as is. Okay. Then play out the scene, which I will do. When the main action ends, the scene ends, and update the list, characters, threads, and chaos factor, and such forth. So as you can see, this is blank, but I'll be filling this in as I go along. And what do I mean by chaos factor? Well, we'll see in a moment. But that's effectively what we're looking at. There'll be scene one, which I'll describe as it is in the actual adventure book. Okay, so let's minimize that down. We'll come back here, and we've now got what's actually in the book. So let's actually read it. The adventure, the opening scene. It goes on about a situation and such forth, but I'm going to start remembering now the two guys, Martin and Christiana. They met in an inn, looked at how much silver they actually had. They know about this misty veil, and they've said, well, let's actually go and see what's actually there together. So it says, when the adventure begins, the player characters have been traveling for days through the high and rugged Kuma Mountains. Okay, yeah, Kuma Mountain, trying to find a way down to the misty veil. It says, begin the session by reading or acting out the text below. So this is the introductory scene, setting the scene. The ancient and narrow path runs through the mountains like an axe gash. Steep, moss-covered slopes rise to the snow-laden peaks that can occasionally be glimpsed through the veils of cloud. Somewhere ahead lies the Misty Vale, the legendary place where the empires of old stored their wealth and magical artifacts. We know nothing about this, but what we've heard. It is rumored of these treasures that has brought you here, the vast riches and arcane secrets hidden among the ruins on the other side of the mountains. And you are not the first to be lured by such temptations. Since the orcs started leaving the area, okay, so we now know that orcs were leaving the area, about a decade ago, a growing stream of settlers and adventurers had made their way to the Misty Vale. So this is something we've picked up in the tavern. But you know the way is treacherous and fraught with peril. The old imperial roads have crumbled, and the mountains are teeming with danger. The Drakar path, where you now find yourself, is particularly infamous. The dwarves of the Kuma Mountains have warned that the humans' return has attracted brigands, and ravenous beasts to the area. Brigands, yes. Your fears come true when you suddenly hear a disconcerting whimper. You see a figure lying in the middle of the rocky trail, only 20 or so meters ahead of you. The figure is wearing a simple grey robe and clutching a dark bundle to his chest. As the whimper turns into a rattling wheeze, you realize the person is gravely wounded. Dun, dun, dun. And that's where it takes us. Okay, so that's the scene. Christiana and Martin moving their way through this pass. So the Drakar Pass is a narrow passage through the Kuma Mountains. its ancient but still discernible road makes it apparently an important route for adventurers, settlers, and others seeking their fortune in the misty vale. However, as mentioned in that intro, the influx of travelers has also attracted brigands and the occasional beasts in the mountain pass. 20 meters ahead, we see this guy on the floor. And it says, your fears come true when you suddenly hear a disconcerting whimper. That's from the guy up ahead. You see a figure lying in the middle of the rocky trail, only 20 or so meters ahead of you. The figure is wearing a simple grey robe and clutching a dark bundle to his chest. As the whimper turns into a rattling wheeze, you realize the person is gravely wounded. So, what's going to happen? Christiana, she's obviously like quite keen. Well, she's got a bundle. It could be important. And of course, we've got to save his life. Of course. Martin's like, yes. Well, be a bit cautious. We don't know what's here. And she says, well, okay, let me go ahead and check out the scene. Okay, so now coming into the rules side of the game, and I'm going to bring her character sheet up here. She's going to make it an awareness roll, because she has got awareness, or 12. Okay, so I'm just going to, I think I can just click the button here. Have a look. What does that mean? Okay, what do I just click the number? Oh no. Okay. What do I just click the name? There we go. She rolls an 18. She hasn't got a clue. Okay. So that should have brought, I'm showing you roll 20 on here as well. There we go. Christian rolled awareness 18. Tells me the actual roll she's made. Awareness is 12. Okay, she said, can't see nothing. Here we go ahead and see what's going on. What do you reckon? I mean, he could die at any moment. Okay, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to see what this is all about. Okay, little one. I'm going to get my crossbow out and be ready, just in case. Looks a little bit suspicious. There's nothing going on, I assure you. I can't see anything. So, I'm going forward. Okay? Luciana, as she says, we're going to start moving forward. And Martin, well, he's going to be a bit more cautious. Pulls his crossbow off his back. Brings one. Puts a bolt in it. Okay, little one, go forward. All right. So she moves forward. Gradually. Well, Martin, he moves to the boulder here. Giving a cover as she continues to creep forward. Right, so this is where I'm going to ask a question of the fate chart. We know, well, we don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's daylight. What is the actual weather like? Okay. Simple question. Is it raining? So how does this actually work on the fate chart itself? Okay, so we have the fate chart here, which I've shown you guys before. And I said I'm not going to show this every time, but I'm just going to show how it actually sort of works on this machine. And I've got the physical copy right next to me, so I've got to increase the size of it so you can see it. Okay, and so it's a simple question: what's the likelihood of rain? I mean, the first thing, we're starting at Chaos rank 5, and I would say unlikely that it's raining. No, let's do it 50-50. So you can see where first thing starts at Chaos rank 5. and we're doing 50-50, there's a 50% chance. That's what the big number is. Can I blow this up anymore? No, it looks like we're at maximum blow up. All right, so it's a 50% chance. Then you've got two little numbers on either side, the 10 and the 91. So what this is telling me is, ask the question, it's a yes or no answer, but if it rolls 50 down to 10, that's a yes. If it's 10 or less, that's a definite yes. 51 to 91 is a no, and 91 to 100 is a definite no. Okay, so I'm asking, is it raining? So then I'm going to roll the random, this RE, no, it's the roll 100. RE is for something completely different. So I'm rolling 100. Okay, and got the dice under this, so that says 39. Okay, I can also look at it under the taskbar here. So 39. So the answer, question was, is it raining? The answer is below 50. Yes, it's raining. Now, if when I was rolling on this table, that those came up doubles, so that would, like to say, be a 33, the answer to the question is still yes, but that would then encourage a random event as long as that number, or those two numbers, is less than the chaos factor. Chaos factor is 5, so 0, 0, no, 0, 0 is 100. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4 would have been a random event as well. That hasn't happened, so we know so it's raining. Now, if that had been a definite yes, I would have said it was a thunderstorm. It's absolutely tanking it down. As it is, it's raining. I've already said this, it's during the day. What additional effect the rain will have, don't know as yet, but we know, at least know it's raining. If that had been obviously between a 51 and a 91, it's not raining. But if I'd rolled 91 or higher, then I'd have said, so it's a definite no. I would have said it hadn't rained for a long time, and actual fact, it's really hot, and the water canteens they're carrying are low, so that I might have put a restriction on the amount of water they were carrying. So that's sort of how the fate chart runs. Now, I'm not going to show this every time because obviously that will slow the game down, but as I did say, this first gaming episode will be going through what I am using to generate the actual story arc that we're on. So I'm going to close that fate chart down. As we were, Christiana is approaching the whimpering person that is ahead. We're in the valley, and I haven't read how this is meant to resolve. I've got a picture, and we know there's those little numbers, 2 there, 1 there, and such forth. So I presume that will come into effect as we continue what's going on. Okay. Be careful, little one. Just be careful. Yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. People bored. Wiping the rain from her eyes. She approaches, all the same, the whimpering man. Okay. Sienna sees a pale, panic-stricken face and notices that one of his thighs is pierced by a thick, black arrow. Okay. Okay. What whimpers? Now, Christiana can see that she's wearing, it's already square. The figure's wearing a simple grey robe and clutching a dark bundle to his chest. His whimpering is turning into a rattling wheeze. She's looking at the bundle more than the arrow that's sticking in his leg. This is Christiana, after all. Martin says, well, go on then. You've gone up there. Yeah, all right, she says. Moves next to him. Well, let's have her examine the wound. I mean, she's got this far anyway, hasn't she? I mean, though she does keep looking at the bundle. So let's do a healing check. She's not great at this. She's got a healing skill of 6. Well, I'm going to roll a 2. Okay. She failed. For some reason, I've got a rolling 2 dice. I reckon I must have a set. Yeah, I do. I have the boon setting as 1. Okay. But even with the boon, she was not really successful. She's like, starts prodding it. Does that hurt? As she sort of starts, she's probably looking at the wound. Yeah, not much I could do about that. And got a hand on the bundle that's on the guy's chest. Wheezing chest. Yeah, mate. All right. Oh. So he's pale. He's panic stricken. She does conclude that the arrow is poisonous, judging by his very pale face. There are now purple-blue streaks branching out from the wound in his leg, and can be seen on his actual face as well. Suddenly, he sits up straight. She jumps back a little bit, and then he actually pushes the bundle into her hand, staring wide-eyed at her, and saying in a breathy, fading voice, "Quick! Take it! Linara will understand. Message from Master Weatherman. Must find all pieces. The secret of the Dragon Emperor." And he dies at that point. Leaping out of blind rocks, and if any of you have been noticing on the side there, I'd actually had the visible, are some goblins from here and from here. Okay, they've got bows, and they both take a shot at Christiana. It's a surprise. It's ambush. She was not aware. Martin, we'll do initiative, but first of all, we have 2 surprise shots from the goblins. Okay, so combat and initiative. We got brought up these initiative cards here. Okay, so the goblins, when you got surprise, if you perform an attack with surprise, you get to choose what initiative card you have. Now, these initiative cards are got numbers on them, and the lower number, the better. So you've got number 1 card, you will be going first. Now, can I click on that? And it's initiative 1 card. So I'm going to give that to the goblins. I'm going to put that down here. That's the goblins card. There we go. I don't know why it goes down the right at the bottom. There we go. Then I'm going to draw an initiative card for Martine. I'm going to put over here. He got an 8, and then 1 for Christiana. She got a 7. So, as I said, the goblins have got the surprise. I mean, they could delay, and they can actually swap these cards, but we'll go into more detail of that. We know the goblins are going first. So we're into combat. And then I've got to bring up what the actual goblins have got. So let's pause while I do that. So I brought the Goblin Scouts character sheets up. Now, the way this system works, you've got monsters and you've got NPCs, the bad dudes, and the goblins are classed as NPCs. Monsters have other specific rules, and I say will happen when we get there. You can see it says here non-monster. Okay, it's got its movement rate. We're not bothered about their stats, and they've got basic skills, but they've got their short bow and a short sword that they're using. So we're going to have them using the short bow. Also shows me their hit points. Bio and info, there's a nice little picture of what they sort of look like. And all right, we've all generically played with, well, I'll say all, most of us who have role played have played with goblins. In this system, they are described as follows. Goblins are children of the night and shadows. They are relatively small and skinny, but have disproportionately long arms and big, bulbous heads. They primarily make their living hunting, growing mushrooms, and trading with other creatures, mainly orcs and humans. But there are also warlike, aggressive clans specializing in looting and piracy. Apparently, many thieves' guilds also have large goblin membership. They are cunning creatures who often resort to traps, ambushes, and poisons when attacking their victims. For this reason, there are many who despise the goblins and see them as devious, dishonorable cowards. Bit rude, isn't it? But there we go. All right, so that's what we've got. We've got his character sheets, and there are 2 of them. So how do we perform an attack? Well, I'm going to actually differentiate here. So we've got Goblin Scout up here, who's going to be Goblin Scout A. Those settings. And we'll have this one down here as Goblin Scout. Well, be rude, wouldn't it? B. There we go. Right, so settings. We'll have A fire first. Now, so we can determine the range by clicking on her there. He's got to make a little step out a little bit to actually get her. Did I? What are they? So she's 10 meters away. Each of these squares is 2 meters. All right. I'm going to then bring that back, and he steps out and fires his arrow. To make an attack, you have to roll your attack dice. And is there anything that's going to make that hard? Well, she's small, and there's a body in the way. Okay, she's just picked up the satchel when this occurs. Goblin comes out, yeah, fires his arrow. Okay. And we then roll to see how effective that shot actually is. So you click on. So I'm going to just fire the arrow, short bow shot. And okay, so it tells me that he's rolled a 19, and if he'd hit, he'd have done 8 damage, which would have been nasty. But his skill is only a 12. So that is a miss. How do I know his skill's a 12? Well, it shows me on here, short bows, he had a 12. You've got to roll less than him, and low is good. He rolled a 19. His shot goes wide, clatters off the actual rock over here. Christiana's like, what? And then the other goblin, Goblin B, will take a shot, also within range. Now, is this short range? Maybe that should be taken into account. The Goblin B, he fires his bow. It doesn't seem to be any effect for short range. and the rain's not heavy enough at this range to be detrimental. He fires his short bow and rolls, as we can see on here. Goblin Scout, short bow, 18. They've been unlucky, considering they got the jump. And look at his damage, would have been 10. He got maximum damage. If he'd hit this, arrow goes thunk. I'm going to have it go thunk into him. That actually will finish him off. Okay, that's the goblins done. So we now move over to the next initiative, which is Christiana. She drops the bundle. She's got multiple daggers on her, and she will throw a dagger at Goblin Scout A. Okay, so right. She needed a 14. She rolled a 15. That's a miss. Okay. She then can move, and judging from where these guys are, leaving the satchel behind, she can move, and she will move to here. Okay. How far can they move, I hear you say? Okay, you've got a movement rate on your character. She can actually move 12 meters, which is effectively 6 squares per turn. A free action would have been dropping the bundle. I'll use a sort of backpack kind of thing there. And she's, as I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So that's perfectly fine. There is actually a dagger of hers lying here at the present moment, which you'll have to retrieve at some point. But now it's Martain's go. Okay, he's got a loaded crossbow. Can he see the goblin here that's fired? I would suggest he can, and he will fire his loaded crossbow at the Goblin Scout. So I'm going to bring up Martain. Here he is. He's got a basic 10 with bows. He's on crossbows. He's got a 10 as well. So on his character sheet, you've got his light crossbow, and he will fire that at the goblin. Okay, he hit. He needed a 10. He scored a 10 because and he's done 5 damage to the goblin. Now the goblin is wearing armor. That'll subtract 1. So that's 4 hits on Goblin Scout B. Okay, so yes, causing 5 damage. The Goblin Scout has 1 leather armor, so that takes on. So he's taken 4 hits. So this arrow, this bolt, scrapes across his arm, cuts through the armor, and he starts bleeding. Martin starts to reload his crossbow. Okay, so this is Goblin B. I'm going to put him down on. This is all things on roll 20. He has 9 hit points. So we're going to give him this bar. We will actually mark as hit points on here. Do you need to see me doing this? I'm actually just showing what this actually looks like. So there's his hit points. Shows 9, and we're now going to lose 4. Save settings. Okay, and he's got a little toolbar. He's got. No. I can't add up, can I? He's got 5 left. He had 9. He's just taken 4. Save setting. Okay. There's the goblin. And that effectively ends. I mean, I could move Martain, but remembering that he is faint-hearted, which I'm viewing as cautious, let's use bows. Let's not get involved in fisticuffs for these guys as yet. So that will end the first round, and then I will. Now, can I? What can I do with these initiative cards? Because they're going to go recall. Will that pull them all back? Shuffle after recalling. Yeah. And on table 3, recall all. Oh, look at that. It sort of works. We now go to round 2. And Okay, round two. And I'm modifying this adventure just slightly because I'm only 2 characters rather than 4. So I'll tell you how it's modified once it happens. So into round two, I'm going to draw initiative cards for everyone. I'll just shuffle them again, just in case. Are you sure you want to shuffle? Yeah. All right. So Martine, Chrisanna, and then the Gobos. Okay, so the goblins go first. Remember, it's the lowest number as the advantage. Okay, so the goblins go first. Now, it says in here that all the goblin scouts act on the same turn. So, yeah, okay. All of those of charging, they fire their short bows before charging at the adventurers with their melee weapons raised. Okay, so let's put the music on. Turn it down a little bit. There we go. Don't want to be blasting away. Okay, there's the die roll modifiers. Now, that's what it says. So that's what it said, was that they were charging. But I'm gonna roll on the fate chart because I think that there might be a tendency for them not to. And so I want this to be not as written totally in the book. So I'm going to make a fate roll, which is rolling percentage dice. And the question is, and we're on fate number 5, chaos number 5. Goblins are described as cowards. Would they charge in, knowing that Martine's armed with a crossbow, Chrisanna's has thrown a knife? Or will they charge in? I would say that it's unlikely, which gives them a 35% chance of charging in. 35 or less. Okay. 07. The answer to that question then is actually that's a extreme or exceptional yes. So they do charge in. And as it's I'm going to give them a bonus on this. I'm going to give them a boon, as that was me trying to modify them. Their actual charge in to me. So they're really enthusiastic for charging in there. So their movement is 12. Okay. So they're going to go remember each of these squares, I was about to call them hexes, is 2 meters. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. He gets there. Okay. Now, Martin's still armed with his crossbow. He hasn't had a chance to swap his crossbow. So the Goblin Scout bee comes in and he will charge. And I say, I'm going to give him a boon, because that was an exceptional yes. They're very enthusiastic on this. The boon means they roll an extra d20 and you take the lowest. Remember, low is good for the system. Roll. So let me just go to there. This is a short sword. There goes the attack. Short sword. Okay. All right. Why did it only roll 1? I gave him a boon. Well, the first one misses. So I'm going to give him it again. Why did that apply? Or I'd not done the enter. Let's try that again. Okay. So short sword. It did it this time. So obviously I did it in the enter. Okay. Both of those rolls are under. So damage is 9. Ouch on Martin. That hurt. Okay. So Martin has his hit points. He's got 12. He's just taken 9 of them. He's wearing leather armor. It takes the hit down by 1. So that takes. So he's lost 8 hit points. Hit points. Oh, what is it? 12 out of 12. Okay. So he's just taken 8. So he's got 4 left. Hit points 4 out of 12 remaining. Okay, that was not good. I'm also going to put that on here. That he has. That's a goblin. Why am I looking at the goblin? I'm looking at Marte. Okay. His value. He has 12 hit points. Well, he's only got 4 left. So with a savage strike, that really hurt. I do have the option to dodge or parry though, because I haven't gone yet. So this actually might not have occurred. So I reckon it might be worth an attempt to dodge, because parry with his crossbow is maybe not a good idea. Okay, so you can only parry or dodge if you haven't actually done your action yet. Now, Martin hasn't done his action yet, but it uses up his action. I think I'd prefer him to still actually attack, try and take this scout out. So let's do that. Okay, we won't actually dodge or parry. Then we have Scout A, and he will charge towards Chrisanna the Bold. Well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Won't quite make it. Okay. He could dash, which he will do to put him into contact with her for the next round. So that's the goblins done. That's called a dash, and that will finish up there. So now it is over to Martin. Okay, so he drops his crossbow and draws his sword. So that's effectively a free action. And with his short sword, he makes a strike at the goblin. He's not great at this, is he? He's only a D10. He's got, oh no, he's a 12 to actually strike. Okay, so he's striking at the goblin scout. Okay, he does hit, and he does 5 points of damage on that goblin. Okay, which takes the goblin scout out of the equation. So I'm going to remind myself how to use Roll20. I haven't used it for a while, so save settings on there. Okay, so I think that's puts conditions. So we're going to put with NPCs. There we go. He's out. Now Martin still has a move, so he's going to come across, and his movement is 10. Not as fast as a goblin. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to there. Unfortunately, he hasn't got any healing potions or anything like that. We're broken, skint, and such forth. So, and then we have Christiana. Okay. She's right next to the goblin. What's she going to do? She's armed with knives. Not much. She's got a dagger. Okay, can she disengage? She's going to make an evade roll to disengage, because she's right next to the goblin, and then hopefully throw a dagger at him. So let's look at her evade roll. Okay, she's pretty good at that. Okay, that's good. She needed a 14 or less, a 7 she does. So she bounces out of the way over to here, and then throws a dagger at the goblin scout. Okay. Unfortunately, she rolled 16. She needed a 14. That would have been exceedingly good damage. So she misses and puts another one of her knives Let's just copy that. Copy, and we'll put that sort of, it fires off and lands there. As it crashes off the rocks as she recovers from the tumble. That actually ends the second round of combat. So we now click on the initiative cards, recall, shuffle after recalling, recall all. As you can see, they're back. Right, that was, yeah, Martin. He's in trouble, serious trouble. Okay, so we're starting round 3. We have a wolf rider, a warg rider come into play over here. Okay. He's been previously hidden behind the boulder, and now he makes his appearance. Now, this is classed as a monster, so it actually has its own little combat chart. Now, I wonder if the actual Roll20 will bring that up. Let's have a look. Warg rider. Oh, that's great. It's not even option on here. Okay, so yes, he does have a sheet. It's a little bit hard to find, but I found it. So, as it's classed as a monster, he doesn't actually have hit points and such forth on there. Well, as a character sheet, he has this as a write-up. So it tells me how fast he moves, what arm he's got, how many hit points he's got, and ferocity is how many attacks he's got. Now, this is written for 4 characters, so I'm going to halve those. He's going to have a ferocity of 1 and a hit point of 12. Otherwise, this could be game over very quickly. So on here, I'm going to give him max value of 12 and current value of 12, and he only gets 1 action. Okay, so it says in here the second round, well, it says on here the second, I made it the 3rd round. Okay, so when the Goblin's Warg Rider commander attacks, having previously been hidden behind the boulder at position 4. This attack is surprising, and he automatically gets initiative card 1 this round. Now, I'm not sure how to actually, can I actually do that? Deal, card, shuffle, hide. Let's be able to do a particular one. We know he's on initiative 1. If the card 1 comes out, the other guys, then we know that's incorrect. So, drawing initiative for this round 3. Okay, so Martin. Oh, he's a bit slow. Okay. Wait a minute. He can use his veteran ability. He had the last time initiative was 7. He can retain that. So if we draw out 7, we know to give it to Martin. There we go. So actually, Martin's got 7. He maintains his initiative from last round, which is his veteran ability. So I'm going to put that. What can I do with that? Draw a new card. Can I put that back in the deck? Right. There's the initiative 1 card. That's the Warg Rider. Okay, I'm going to have to pause again. It's not as easy as actually just doing it with the board, I'm afraid. Okay, let's do that again. Thinking about it, Martin had a 7. He uses his veteran ability. Last time, would he have retained a 7? Because there's 1 to 10. So no, he wouldn't. So I'm going to reshuffle all these cards again. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, Martin. Okay, we've got a 4. All right. Christian, remember, we draw a 1. That's for the goblin. We know he's on a 1. Here's the 1. So that's not Christian. That's the Goblin Warg Rider. Christiana's in. actually draws a 3, and the other goblins, they draw an 8. Okay, so that's the Warg Rider first, and then now I have a little table for him. I have to roll on this to see what he actually does. Okay, so let's have a look. Roll a d6. Let's see what he does. Roll a 5. And where did he disappear to? All right. Okay. So with a 5, Warg Bite. The Warg grabs the victim in his drooling maw and starts swinging them back and forth. The attack inflicts 2d piercing damage, and the victim is hurled. So that's what it wants to do. So he's got to get there. So, right. So he does his movement, and that's what he wants to do. So he's got a movement of 20. Yes. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8. So he doesn't actually get there. Ooh, picking up the bag. Doesn't actually get there. Okay. So thankfully, right. That's him done on his initiative 1. Okay. What do we do now? Because it's now Chrysanna the Bold. Now she started with 3 daggers. She's thrown 2 of them. So she's only got the 1. So I think because they're non-returnable. I reckon she's going to have to still throw the other one and then move to one of the other daggers. So she throws her last dagger. Apparently I should be able to flip these cards to show that they're being done, but I can't see a flip action on the card. No, can't. Anyway, so back to Chrysanna. She throws her dagger at the Goblin Scout. Let's see if we can take him out of the equation. Okay. Here she goes. And her rating on that was 16. No, she rolling 16. I'm not sure how she rolled a 16. That's 15 on the dice, but there we go. I don't know where the additional +1 comes, but she missed. So that's her 3rd dagger. I'm going to just copy and paste that, which goes clattering. Yes. A little bit bouncing over here. Okay. Unfortunately, she is now unarmed. So she moves. I'm going to give her an evade roll again because she's going to have to move through this goblin's area. So let's give her an evade roll. And as a free action, can she pick up that other dagger? Okay, where's her evade? Oh, she's right. That is what's called a dragon. Rolling a 1. Okay, that's perfect. So she gets to her dagger and picks it up, and I'm going to give her as a bonus a free attack because she rolled a dragon. It's a critical success. Okay, so she picks up the dagger and she gets another attack on that goblin, but this time obviously can't throw it. She's actually going to try and stab him, and she gets her backstab ability. You can activate this ability when making a melee attack against an enemy that's also within 2 meters of another player character, which this one is. Your attack then counts as a sneak attack, which means it cannot be dodged or parried, and you get a boon to the roll. The number of dice rolled for the damage is increased by 1. Okay, so she's getting a boon. Okay, and we're gonna see sneak attack. No, it doesn't seem to be a sneak attack. Okay, so on the character sheet, that's what I'm referring to. So she now uses the dagger. Okay. So she hit. She gets the damage and should, as a sneak attack, get additional damage. Let's see how much that is. Okay, she gets another D8 worth of damage. Wow. Sneak attacks and backstabbing are nasty. And she gets another D8. Ah. I need to get a D8 on here. This thing got another roll. So there we go. Another 8. Well, 9 plus 8 is 17. That Goblin Scout, unfortunately, takes it all. So he had, I don't remember how many he had, did he? He's dead. So I might as well just save that and give him a little skull and crossbones on him. Goblin drops. We don't want that. That's too big. There we go. Okay. So Christiana, in story mode, throws a dagger, which clatters to the wall. She thinks, right, I need another dagger. She goes, I'm going to... Tumbles behind the goblin who's engaged with Martine. Picks it up, and it's such a beautiful and swift maneuver that she grabs the dagger and sticks it right in the back of the goblin as he's just about to make a strike at Martine. And he drops. Dead. Martine looks at her. Well done, little one. All in a day's work, she says. All in a day's work. And then Martine turns around and looks at the Warg Rider and charges him. Maybe not the most sensible thing to do, considering he's wounded. So, Martin to strike. Right, so he's armed with a short sword. Okay. All right, his base to hit is 12. He rolls a 14. He swings wildly, and the warg growls and snarls as Martin misses. His swing is wild and uncontrolled. And that, ladies and gentlemen, finishes round 3. Okay, on to round 4. Let's now Martine will use his veteran ability and retain that card. I don't know how I can retain it using this system. I can see it. Take card. Yeah. Right, I want to click take card. Where am I taking it to? Don't know. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. It's going to take me a little bit of time, as I said right at the beginning, to get my head around how this all works. All right, actually, I can see he's got the card there. Right, so let's see what happens when I do a recall. I shuffle up recalling. Yeah, and there's 3 on the table, recall. All right, so he's maintained his card. What can I do now with that card? Put it back on the table. I can indeed. Okay, see? Wise learning. Right, so he retains his card. And then the only one that's left for it. So Christiana the Bold has now got a dagger. So her card. Oh, she's a bit slow. Maybe she's congratulating herself on that. And the Warg Rider. Darn it. Darn it. He rolls initiative of 1. Okay, and he's right next to Martine. This could be nasty. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what the warg's going to do with his initiative of 1. Okay. Rolling a d6. Why does it always have to disappear off the screen? That I never understand. Okay. I can bring it back up, but it's not the point. Right. So what did he roll? He rolled a 5, which is that warg bite again. The warg grabs the victim in its drooling maw and starts swinging them back and forth. The attack inflicts 2d10 piercing damage, and the victim is hurled 2d4 meters and lands prone. Now, can I parry that or block it? That is a good question. So remember, I'm learning the rules as well as we go. I have read them a couple of times, but you learn as you play. Okay, so it says as a rule you cannot parry monster attack unless it says specific number of monsters that can be parried. But you can dodge. But Martine will try to dodge because I can only do this because I still have his action remaining. So he rolls on his evade skill. Okay. Not great at this. It's 50-50. Okay. He rolls a 13. His evade's 10. So he fails to evade. So we now have to take the warg bite, grabs the victim in its drooling maw and starts swinging them back and forth. The attack inflicts 2d10 damage. Okay, there's dice. 2d10 damage. I was going to swear there. That's only 4. All right, so that takes Martine to 0. We'll see what actually happens there in a moment. Okay, so that takes him to 0. Okay, and then done it again. It's made him the warg disappear. Okay, and then victim is hurled 2d4 meters and lands prone. Okay, so get that out of the way there. 2d4 meters. So let's roll 2d4. Okay, for a total of 6 meters. Which direction? So there's effectively say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay. 1d8. All right, so it's in direction 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6 meters. So we've gone that way for 6. All right. 2, 4, 6. So basically the warg grabs hold of him, shakes him and tussles him, and then throws him back over his neck. And he lands there. And as you say, it lands prone. Okay, is there one that looks like a prone? What do you reckon? What looks like he's prone? There isn't a symbol that looks like he's flat on his back, is there? Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So I'm going to use... Yeah, let's use that one. He's prone. Okay. That's the warg done. Okay. Will it push its attack on Martine as internal will round on Martine, or will it look at Christiana? I reckon so. I'm going to ask the fate chart, and then I'll work out what actually has happened, being at 0 hit points. So I reckon. So will it move towards Christiana? I reckon that's somewhat likely. Take out both opponents. So at chaos factor 5, that's a 65% chance it will do that. Roll the 100. Okay. It doesn't. It's not a massive yes, but it will move back towards, so it whirls round, and it's obviously got the the taste of Martain's blood in his maw, and it moves towards Martain. Now he's on 0 hit points. So what can he do from that situation? Damage. So if your hit point reaches 0, you drop to the ground and risk dying. You cannot move or perform any actions except trying to rally. On your turn, on each subsequent round, you must make a death roll. Okay, rally. Another player within 10 meters and earshot can persuade you to rally and keep fighting despite being on 0 hit points. This counts as an action. If you rally, you can continue acting as normal, but must keep making death rolls as described. Dear oh dear. Okay, so we know that Christiana's got her dagger. Okay, so she charges towards the warg and the warg rider. Now, it does say for a... But let me just check the backstab rules. I'm assuming that Martain must be actually standing. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Or does it mean just because they're engaged? Heroic ability, backstab. You can activate this ability when making a melee attack against an enemy that's also within 2 meters of another player character. Your attack then counts as a sneak attack, which means it cannot be dodged or parried. You get a boon to the roll, and the number of dice rolled for this damage is increased by 1. This ability can only be used by a subtle weapon, which is a dagger. Activate this ability does not count as an action. The warg is concentrating on Martain, as determined by the fate dice. Okay, so she can activate, and that's a good point. I forgot that when you activate these abilities, her willpower, so she's going to activate backstab again, and it does come off her actual character sheet. Yeah, so she activates backstab, which lowers her will by another 3. So she's got 9 out of 15 willpower points left, and she strikes. That's classed as a sneak attack, which does what? We know it's the extra dice, isn't it? So you don't have to do a sneaking roll as if you were just doing a sneak attack. Right, so she's got to succeed in the attack. Here she goes. She got the boon. Okay, she needed 1 score under 13, under 14, which she got. She got that 16. And a 13, she got the boon, so she gets the lowest die roll, 13, and her damage is 10, plus she gets another D8. A D8, just one of them, which is another 4, for a total of 14 points of damage. So she sneaks up, she crawls up. This beast is just about to savage Martain again. She crawls underneath and stabs the beast and rips upwards. The goblin that's riding it falls to the ground, and she just slits his throat, taking them both out of the equation. Well, so as Christiana moves to the side, she scans around. The path is quiet. She moves towards Martain and will try a healing roll on him. What is her healing? Probably not great. Okay, I've still got it down with the boon. You should have a boon on that. So, yeah, so she fails on that. So Martain now has to make a death roll. Okay, a death roll. So let's just get rid of the goblins for the moment. The rain is still pelting down. Okay, where do you make a death roll on this? Hmm. Got these on death rolls. Okay, so he needs 3 successive death rolls. On a turn, when your turn, each subsequent round, you must make a death roll, a roll against your constitution. All right, so luckily his constitution's not too bad. Um, How did you actually make? So his constitution's 12. So I'm going to just roll a d20 and see what we get. Okay, a 9. So that's a success. Okay, so that's a success. He needs, after 3 successful death rolls, you recovered 1d6 hit points. After 3 failed death rolls, your player character dies. Okay, so he's still bleeding out. Chris Anna, who's moved beside him, can try another healing roll, but she does have a bane because do we have bandages? I don't have any bandages. That might be something worth buying. So she does unfortunately have a bane on this. And she's not great. Her healing is only 6. Both of them. No. She's, I don't know what to do. He's like, hold it, little one. Let's see. So now we have another constitution roll. Roll 1d20. His constitution's 12. It's got to be 12 or less. He rolls a 10. That's his second successful saving roll. Okay. So again, Christiana will try to patch him up without a bandage. Yeah, I think that might be one of the best things to buy. No, she hasn't got a clue. She's just prodding him and saying, "I'm trying to stop him." Where this warg had mauled, but another constitution roll, 12 or less. You lucky bastard. Okay, he manages to come out of it himself, and he gets 1d6 hit point. Woohoo! He has 5. That's not too shabby. There we go. He's no longer prone either. He pulled himself up. Why did I use that symbol for prone? No idea. Can you think of a better symbol? Right. Wow. So you can see combat can be quite deadly. Right, so Christiana goes and picks up her 2 daggers. Okay. Chance of breaking both being flung. Tell you what, each dagger I'm going to roll. So we'll start with that dagger. On a 1, on a d6, it broke. Yeah, I know. Is that a bit mean? Yeah. All right, no, that one's fine. And the other one, is that hex there? Oh, is that hex there? No. That's right, I've got to keep the button pressed. Oh, that one is gone. Snapped. Okay, I'm just going to delete it. There. I know how to delete that from her character sheet because she's got yeah. All right, so you've got 1 missing. Oh, nice. But there we go. Delete. Okay. And Martin will pick up his crossbow. Yeah, that was just a drop. That's not gonna. affect anything on that. So he's got his crossbow back. Okay, so Christiana goes and checks on this guy. And yeah, he has passed. Okay. Oh, another dagger there. Let's just delete that. That's bugging with it. Don't scroll with the things. Okay. So the combat is over. Martine is really hurt. Okay. The rain continues down. We have the backpack that's been thrust into our hands. Now, what that backpack, so just as a reminder, okay, the man has said, quick take it. Inara will understand. Message from Master Weatherman. Must find all 4 pieces. The secret of the Dragon Emperor. What does all that mean? Well, will they open the packs? Let's have a look. Brianna says, okay. That was scary. Wow. She pushes the warg. Yes, he's gone. She says, right, well, let's see what these goblins have on. You know, I've only got two silver on me. You've only got 3. So let's go. He says, I'm just going to rest up here a little bit. Little one, you go ahead. Share and share alike there. She goes, huh, of course. Anyway, as I said, yeah, I've got these random, the book of random tables, which you can get on the drive-through RPG. You can get them as a book, or you can get them as a PDF. So, and in the first one, there's 5 that I've seen, the book of random tables. In book 1, there is items on a dead goblin. So she's gonna start with Scout B. Okay, let's see what she finds on this dead goblin. And it's a D100 roll. So let's see, there we go. 39. What does she find? Whoop. Copper pieces. 1d6 worth. 5 copper pieces. This one was rich, she says through the rain. 5 copper pieces. Yay! So, yeah, I'm going to put that down on her. Okay, so she moves over to the next dog. I mean, yeah, he had standard riffraff. He's armed with a sword, so she picks up his sword. I'm assuming they're armed with a sword. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a sword and short bow, wasn't it? So, yeah, she's going to take those items as well. I'll write that actually down as accumulated guff, because they can sell those for money. And they were wearing leather armor, but yeah, she doesn't really fancy taking the leather armor off a dead goblin. No offense, but yeah, but the sword though, and the 2 times swords and 2 times short bows and arrows. Let's say 2. Okay, I'm going to make a D10 roll here. Actually, a D20 roll. See how many arrows she picks up in total. 16 arrows between the 2 of them. And 2 times quivers. Again, this is all stuff that could be sold later. Oh, excuse me. Okay. All right. So, unusual item on Goblin A. Again, D100. Which is a 24. Okay, it's a 1d4 human scalps. 4. Ew, this is disgusting. She delves into his backpack or whatever little satchel the little gobbo was wearing. She no, I don't I don't want those. No. She then moves over to the Warg Rider, who was also armed with a sword. So actually 3 swords and leather armor. Well, he showed no armor on there, but there we go. So, and what does she find on this dead goblin? 44. A pouch full of pebbles. Ah, yes, he was armed with a sling as well. Okay, so she could take a sling and a pouch full of pebbles. So it was 3 swords in total. Okay, and 1 times sling and a pouch full of pebbles. She keeps the pouch. The pebbles, she's not too bothered about and drops those on the floor. Well, not much wealth here, Martin. Our total, in actual, we got the sword and such, and she's piling all those up. And she says, I'm assuming you can carry all this. He just looks at her and goes, suppose so. So what was in the actual bundle that this guy thrust into your chest before these gobbos attacked? So she has a look. Okay. But the way that the guy had died, the bundle turns out to contain 2 remarkable objects: a map and a piece of a black statue. Ooh. So what's the map? Can I bring up the map? Let's have a look. The actual map is inside a map or scroll case. She pops it open, trying to shield it from the rain. She goes, it looks like a map, but I'm not going to take it out in this rain. I don't want to get down. And this statue, well, it looks like it's a piece rather than the whole lot. It looks like a pedestal with lower legs and the bottom part of a sword. So I'm not sure what material it's made of, but didn't he mention 4 pieces? This looks like a piece. So, but anyway, do you think we should carry on moving, or do you want to rest up? He said, well, I'm not getting much shield from the rain, so we might as well continue. And he gets up, and stretches. Let us be on our way, but let's move more cautiously. And that's where I end the scene. I'll go through the recovery and such forth in the next episode. So let's bring this back up to the top. Well, I know there was lots of stops and starts as I'm both learning the rules. It's the first time I've played the game. I've read the rules, as I mentioned, a couple of times, but it's only when you're actually playing that you start to see, how does that work? How does that fit? What goes there? How does that happen? I'm also refamiliarizing myself with Roll20. How do I pause? How does that work? How do I minimize that? Where does that go and such forth? And I'm also learning how recording on. I use Zoom to record. It's a little bit fiddly. You've got to actually go onto a particular button and then tell it to actually record or not record, and so on. So, so there's quite a few stops and start, which hopefully in the next episode that will be less. Anyway, but we've done the initial adventure. It was modified slightly from the book. We have had a close call for Martin. If he could have died there, because if the warg had not gone back to him, which I gave it the more likely it will actually press on to Krisanna, if it had taken her out, then I think that would have been game over. That would be probably the shortest role-playing session ever. But we're now going to push on. I'm not sure what the next part is. As I said, I'm reading this as we go. I don't want to have too many spoilers for myself, and also I am using the Mythic to guide a few of the encounters, like what actually happened with that warg, who did it actually attack and such forth. So yeah, Dragonbane, first session. If you liked it, hit the like button. Be much appreciated. And subscriptions, please do. And any comments be much appreciated. But until next time, play games, have fun. And if you are a role player, have a look at this system. It's fast, it's brutal, and I found it fun to play. So now, how do I stop the recording? There we go, button at the top. I forgot to say, bye, Internet. Until next time.